Hello again.
How you doing, Adam?
Very well, thanks. Got a funny feeling I know where you're going to be talking this week.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for months. This is like the excitement I've got about it is like when I was a kid, when you heard that Hagler's fighting Hearns, and these legends are colliding with each other. And I think the only reason that Golovkin hasn't been this is worthy of a.
This being, we haven't said it, but Golovkin versus Canelo.
Yeah, Golovkin versus Canelo, absolutely. It's worthy of any fight you could put together for a variety of reasons. Canelo's sole loss to Floyd Mayweather, I think, came very early for him, and since then he's been almost sort of, blitzing everyone. Golovkin. I actually saw him box in the flesh. I took Dean Byrne out to Monaco to box, and a few years ago, and it was like watching a work of art. Seeing Golovkin take apart. He was in with an opponent who was sort of fed to the lions a little bit, and it wasn't really a risky fight. When I saw him box, I'd heard a lot about him. This is GGG. He took this guy apart. I was so impressed with his timing. His choice, selection of punch. He knew exactly what to throw, and it was like the angles and the leverage he got in the shots was absolutely pinpoint. If you had a computer that could work out which angle and how to throw which shot at what time, and it all hit, you could have a laser on the guy's chin. It was like watching a work of art. I was really, really amazed, and I was thinking, okay, but this guy really is a sitting duck. He's got no chance against Golovkin. I mean, he didn't. He was there to make Golovkin look good, which actually he did. But it made me think, right, I want to see Golovkin in proper fights. If you go through past Hellraiser blogs, you'll see there is actually one that explains what the difficulties are with making a fight like Canelo against Golovkin, because initially it was put as a mandatory, which under the WBC rules they have a set purse split on fights that go to purse bids, which Canelo was never going to want that purse split, because Canelo brings in 90% of the money because of the television rights to the Latin countries and to even in America. He's very well established, well known. Golovkin wasn't.
I mean, he's the home fighter in Las Vegas. He's a Mexican who's the home fighter in Las Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're going to be there in their droves to see him, not to see the opponent. And that's why they had such it stuck in their throat that they have to, that they were being told, you've got to give this massive percentage of the purse to the opponent, when the opponent isn't bringing in anywhere near as much. I think if GGG wins this fight, he becomes part of that elite circle of fighters who can go and fight anywhere in the world and then fill any arena. He came to the UK to box Kell Brook. I can tell you, I was there myself. It was absolutely heaving. It was packed, and people came to see him because now the word's sort of out there. He's breaking out even of boxing circles into the sort of the mainstream, and that makes it easier to make the big fights, because he comes to fight. If he wins this fight, he can come to London and fight Billy Joe. And if Billy Joe this weekend, that's interesting. Now he's got Willie Monroe this weekend, who's no pushover. But if Billy Joe beats Willie Monroe, that's a fight you can fill any football ground in the country. Everyone will want to see that fight. That would be a massive fight. That'd be huge. Having come here as well, and people know Kell Brook. I mean, look, Kell Brook is massively too small for him. There's no way that was ever going to be competitive from my side of it. He just walks him down. In fact, we did a blog. I think we even predicted the exact round, which is, there's no guarantees of the round, but the path of the fight was exactly how we predicted it on the blog, how I predicted it on the blog, and it served a fantastic purpose for Billy Joe, because if you were selling before that fight, GGG in the UK, it just sounds like another East European that's come. We've seen loads of them and we don't get excited about them, we're bored of them. Well, Golovkin's a bit different. People are excited about him. People actually acknowledge that he is at least one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world, if not the best pound for pound fighter. And to have done it coming from his background, You know, I mean, how many guys from, you know, from his country have made it through? None, you know, really. I mean, it's not renowned. I mean, it's boxing's apparently very popular back in his own land, but very difficult to bring a guy through. Yet he's done it. He's gone to America. He's built himself. Now even around, he's with Tom Loeffler, who Loeffler, sorry.
Loeffler,
Yeah, the promoter.
It's the Frenchman in you coming out.
Loeffler. Yeah, I think is he Canadian, Tom Loeffler? He's a nice guy. I see him, you know, at different events around the world. I always say hello to him. They've done a really, really good job with him. They brought him along. The only thing is they haven't had a marquee name opponent. They've had all. If you look through there, there's some good level guys. We look Matthew Macklin, we know in the UK very well. Lemieux from Canada.
Martin Murray.
There's been, but there's not been like a marking name. There's been a lot of good level guys. Like fringe world class guys, but not anyone that's like outstanding. And now you've got him going in with Canelo. And I mean, Canelo did get beat by Mayweather, but it was very early in his career. They boiled him down at weight, but it was basically, for me, it was a cash-in fight. You know, and he's going to have nothing left at that weight. And that early, I mean, I think he was 22 when he boxed Mayweather, something like that. He was a young guy. For me, even before the fight, I was like, well, they're just cashing in. They're just grabbing as much money as they can because it's fight Mayweather, earn all this, you know, mountain of money.
And he's still got 10 years of his career left to...
You're made for life. And yeah, if you get beat at 22 in a fight like that and give it a good go first, you can move on to bigger and better things, which he did do, he has done.
Getting back to Saturday though, do you think, is it, and I know you're going to, we'll move on to how you see it going, but is it one that you can call with any real conviction?
No. No, you can't. I think, I actually lean to Canelo. And I sort of surprised myself in saying that because I think Golovkin's jab, I mean, this is how I see the path of the fight. I think it's interesting. You've got two pressure fighters boxing each other. They both, their strength is the fact they waste very little and they're both meticulous and they are experts at cutting off the ring and smoking out their opponents, you know, smothering them and suffocating them and then taking them apart. And here you've got two. And why I'm excited, because when you had Hagler Hearns, you knew these two guys, they're both going to land probably on each other because of their styles. And I think here both of these two have to come forwards. I think whoever chooses to win it on the back foot, I think probably gets beat. So they have to come forward, which means they're both going to be throwing these, and they're both massive hitters. They're going to be throwing these massive shots, landing both of them, I imagine, landing these big punches, and neither of them will have been hit as hard and as often as what they're going to in this fight. And how, you know, we don't know how they're going to react to that. I mean, Golovkin is a proven amateur elite. Canelo has come through a different path, but is proving himself in the pros, I think, to be in the elite level. Golovkin, he hasn't really had his chin tested because the opponents that he's had haven't been of a good enough standard to hit him hard enough on the chin. And he's boxed good people. I've just run through the names earlier. I mean, it's not like he's been in with mugs, but they haven't been up there. They've been like close to up there, but you know, guys that sort of maybe didn't quite get to that.
Do you think Canelo has or not?
Well, Mayweather. I mean, there's no one that I can say is going to be a harder opponent than that.
I suppose the second point to the power issue is talking of chin. Do you think chin is actually, with two inside fighters, do you think chin's more important than how they take the body shots?
No, I think they're both going to go massively to the body because they're going to be in close. They're going to have to. I think they both have to come forwards. I think if either of them thinks I'll try and outbox him on the back foot, they will, because of the intensity of the fight, as I'm anticipating. I'm hoping that we do get served up this diamond, this gem that we're hoping for. But I think we will. That's the thing. Quite often you get all the blub, and then before the fight, I'm like, I think he's going to do this, or he's going to try and suck the other guy into throwing, and then he's going to win it by outboxing him, even if it means outboxing boring. Right, this fight I don't, because I can't see either of them choosing to take a step back or try and box on the back foot and find. Canelo, I would say, is very good at finding angles, but he can't do that because Golovkin will just jab his head off if Canelo tries to box him up. So he'll have to come in, and he's got the longer reach, and that means all the ingredients are there. I think for an absolute humdinger. I think we're going to see a fantastic fight. I think the bookies have gone for GGG. I think for the reason that he has sort of proven himself maybe at that higher level, certainly say in the amateurs, and when he's boxed even good people, he's been able to deal with them in first gear. He's never really been forced out of his comfort zone. Maybe against Danny Jacobs we saw him looking a little bit uncomfortable. I've just got a sneak rather than like an intense feeling. Yeah, it's going to be like this. I've just got a sneak that Canelo the fight might be just at the right time for him. You know, he's a man now. He's not like the boy that went in against Mayweather. Also, I mean, how he was getting down to super welter, to junior middle before, I don't know how. You know, he was massive. Somehow he did make the weight. Now he's sort of into a weight that he's probably growing into. But I actually think that the fact that it's in Las Vegas, so he's going to have a lot more people calling for him, and this is a sort of fight where the fight is really, really going to have to dig deep. I mean, they're going to get taken to the well. There's no going to the well. They're going to get taken there. They'll be forced into a situation where it's going to be, I think it will turn out as a dogfight, and dogfights are entertaining. I don't like it normally when fighters go looking for that, except for in a fight like this where the correct technical choice, because I think either of them steps off, they get beat. So they can't do that. They're going to have to go and take it to each other, probably multiple times throughout the fight. Maybe even in the first 30 seconds of the first round, we'll see them trading shots. I just feel Canelo may be able to find the angles, as Golovkin won't have been under pressure like what Canelo's going to put him under. We've seen beautiful boxing from GGG against guys that have been either slightly past their best, that are not quite the top level people, which has allowed him to look fantastic. Here he has a guy who probably is actually at his peak right now, and definitely has the technical ability to walk him to the ropes, come in close and force him to take big shots and to push him onto the back foot, which GGG is definitely capable of doing in boxing very well from, but I think he loses the fight if he chooses to go on the back foot and purely outbox him, because I think the intensity of what's going to come at him from Canelo will be too much.
Do you think home advantage is going to help Canelo?
I do. I think Canelo's boxed in Vegas loads of times. It's a different environment. I mean, as you know, I take fighters to Vegas every year for that purpose, that I want them to have the experience of going out. It's a very dry, hot at this time of year, and I'm talking like I've been in saunas. I mean, you came out there, Adam. You saw what it's like.
So it's lovely. I loved it.
It's. I mean, literally outside, there's saunas that are not as hot as that.
Yeah.
And I mean, Barry McGuigan was famously, critical of the conditions out there when he boxed Steve Cruz, and I think, Barry really, you'd expect him to beat Steve Cruz, but the conditions definitely play a big part. And I think Canelo, being a Mexican who's been to Vegas, for years, I think that plays in his favour. I think the fact that they're both going to get hit much harder than they've ever been hit before. I just really believe that. I don't think it's promises that won't get delivered upon. I think they will both go at each other as if it was like a street fight almost. They're going to really.
Do you think? Do you see any indication that perhaps Canelo is able to roll with punches quite well and take the sting out?
No, I think Canelo can move inside much more smoothly than what I expect GGG will be able to. I think if they box at long range, if for whatever reason Canelo decides, actually I'll try and out, I think definitely GGG outboxes him, and that's it. And I think even if he chooses at any point in the fight to box him at long range, I think gets cut to shreds immediately. And I think for that reason, he's not stupid, Canelo. He's very sharp. He'll realise that very quickly, and right, I've got to go inside. Here we go. I'm whether I suffer for it, I'm going in. And I think he can. I think he has the ability to force GGG to fight inside at close range, and that's why I see him winning it.
Do you see it points or?
It's hard enough to find a winner. I think possibly points. The only thing that dissuades me from that, makes me think a late stoppage, is that I think the intensity is just going to be too intense for too long a period. It's not one that's going to start off slowly. I think they're both going to realise very quickly, I can't fight this at long range. If I try and stay out, I'm getting beat. So I've got to go in. Got to go in close, stand toe to toe. And 12 rounds against whichever one of them the opponent is. I mean, if they do go the 12, they'll be absolutely exhausted at the end of it. Like I say, I talk maybe there as if I'm quite sure of what's going to happen. I've got a clear picture of it, and in my head I have. A lot of the problems that I see GGG will cause him with his jab, with his sort of punch variety, punch selection, his movement, I think, and the intensity, I think you're going to see Canelo with ready-made solutions for all of that. If Canelo wins, he's not coming to Britain. I mean, that would be incredible if he did, because financially the money that he can make in America, but I think will just dwarf what he could make coming here. If Golovkin wins, that's very good news for Billy Joe. If Billy Joe can beat Willie Monroe,
do you think he will?
I do, yeah. If, as I expect, he beats Willie Monroe and Golovkin wins, I mean, I really think that fight comes to the UK. I mean, Golovkin can fight Billy Joe. Depending on the Americans' reaction to him, that might go to Vegas. That would work really well for many parties in Vegas. Or for me, that's a Wembley Stadium fight. That's a fight that can go anywhere and will sell out in hours, and will, I think everyone would want to see that. Chances of a rematch are huge as well, because if the fight ignites and is as exciting as we think it can be, whoever wins it can sort of hold the loser to ransom on the purses, and because there's going to be such an enormous amount of money, I mean, the exposure to this fight is going to be huge. This is the fight of the decade. This is the Hagler-Hearns of our era. This is the fight. Two guys, top of their game. It's going to be spectacular from a boxing point of view. This is the fight that puts boxing on a platform that can rival any sport, any sporting event this year. None of them will be, I think, more spectacular than this one. I think this is a fight we'll be talking about for years.
Just to recap, massively close fight. Canelo points win or late stoppage due to the intensity of the occasion.
Yeah,
and
well, if I have to put my last penny on it, I'm going for the points win for Canelo. That's what I think. I think Canelo on points, because I think GGG, he has got the skill set to survive, and if I have to bet, that's where I'll go. But we'll see. It's going to be a real exciting night. I'm so much looking forward to it.
It certainly is. Mickey, thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Cheers for watching, guys. Give us a subscription and a thumbs up. Cheers very much, guys.